America need, and which precious few are getting. Instead of gardens and art and sport and actual science, our children are getting gold stars for everyone, preferred pronouns, rainbow flags, and a pathological focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The human spirit is inquisitive and creative, but the human spirit can be beaten down. The schools are doing just that, becoming centers of ideology and control. The schools are very successful at beating down the human spirit. In the new religion called the science, being advocated for by the Democrats, there is nothing new under the sun. No hope, no wonder, no excitement. It's not science, it's technocracy. Everything is already known. The experts have the answers. The experts will deliver you what you need. Processed food, a pill and a shot, and a screen with endless apps in which to waste your days. This is life for children into the 21st century America. A life lived through screens, pharma, and fake food, instead of one lived through creativity, exploration, and the fruit of the land. It is the parent's job to model and teach honesty and integrity, loyalty and kindness, determination and courage. Parenting comes with a responsibility to restrict your children, to establish and enforce honorable rules, and to gradually release those structures and those strictures as your child becomes more capable and has to take risks in the world. It is also a parent's job to provide as much opportunity as possible for their children and to teach their children that any opportunities that do not come to them or which they lose, they need to find for themselves. But parents aren't being allowed to parent. Parental rights are being taken away. The very core of humanity under attack. When rioters were allowed to take over many American cities in the summer of 2020, including in Portland, Oregon, where I then lived, it was the Black Lives Matter movement that was at the forefront. Black Lives Matter did not turn out to be about Black Lives Mattering, though. It turned out to be about enriching the founders of the movement through graft and overturning much of what Americans hold dear. Included among the principles that BLM had on its site in June of 2020 was this, quote, "We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirements," end quote. The rioting that was spearheaded by BLM was allowed by Democratic mayors and governors, encouraged even. They said it was the compassionate thing to do. The attack on the family has thus been written into the very principles of activist organizations that are adored and promoted by Democratic leaders. The attack on parental rights shows up in myriad ways, both direct and indirect. In states from Indiana to Texas to Montana, parents are losing custody of their children because they dare to protect them from the fantasy propagated by the science that boys can become girls and girls can become boys. This summer, following the Biden-Harris administration's sweeping new reforms of Title IX, which now explicitly provides protected status to the fantasy concept gender identity, California became the first state in the nation to allow schools to keep such information about children from their parents. And in Minnesota, Governor Walz signed legislation allowing the courts to take temporary emergency jurisdiction of children when gender-affirming care is not forthcoming. These are direct attacks on children, on parents, and on families. The indirect attacks, though, are no less brutal. They don't seem like attacks, but they are. A parent, usually a mother, becomes convinced that in the name of kindness and compassion and that fantasy called the science, they should abdicate responsibility for their children, hand it over to teachers and activists on social media who tell lies. Lies like, if you don't help trans your kid, he's going to kill himself. In fact, when your boy wakes up in the morning and says he's a girl, it is not time to embrace the fantasy. You did not just get a daughter. What you have is a boy who is exploring his identity, and it will pass if you let it. Because explore and imagine is what children do. These confused parents are being told that it is the loving thing to do to allow their children to be destroyed with drugs and surgery they do not need, drugs and surgery from which they can never fully return. Under the science that the Democrats have brought us, a technocracy masquerading as the Enlightenment, parents' fears are being played, convinced that if they don't follow the newest thing, the latest expert advice or drug, their child will suffer. You don't want your child to suffer, do you? You do love your child. Well, then do what we say, and everything will be fine. Do not fall for it. Do not affirm. Do not comply. This is not the loving thing to do. Family culture, traditions, and rules are what help children learn how to be. Parents having and enforcing rules about screen time or curfews, food or gaming or porn, that is them doing what they're supposed to do. But parents are being told that they must abdicate their own authority for the good of the children. This is not good for children. It is precisely the opposite. The way that children are living now, kept inside because the outdoors are dangerous, so scheduled that none of their time is their own, sedentary, socializing through technology curated by algorithms, high on processed foods and pharmaceuticals. They're effectively prisoners in their own lives. We can set them free. We must set them free. Bobby Kennedy now famously said, as he stepped down from his run for the presidency in August, we need to choose to love our kids more than we hate each other. Yes. Yes, we do. Now, I would ask that you look around you at all these beautiful and courageous Americans and with whom you stand and meet them. Say hello, offer a hand, learn something of them, their humanity, their story. Where do they come from, and how do they find themselves here? Do that, too, with people on all of your days, in the rest of your lives, and find again, I hope and I believe, how much more unites us than divides us. Remember finally that you are here to embrace what is real and what is right. You are here to seize hold of the moment and of your autonomy, your authority, and to resist any who would dispossess you of the truth. Thank you.
Manufacturers selling baby food with high levels of toxic heavy metals.
And cereals marketed to children contain a weed-killing chemical that some health authorities link to cancer.
Half the tap water in the United States contains forever chemicals.
American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries.
It's America Healthy Day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is known as the Food Babe. And she's a babe, I gotta say, gorgeous. Vani Hari she began her life, much like mine is still, eating candy every morning, living off sugar, until it landed her in hospital. And now, she is a warrior against the food companies who are poisoning us every single day for profit. And she's got a lot of work to do. As if RFK is going to make America healthy again, this lady is going to be a big part of that.
Thank you so much. It's surreal to be here today. There's something critical you need to know about the American food system. It affects all of our lives and has been overlooked for decades. Our government is letting U.S. food companies get away with serving American citizens harmful ingredients that are banned or heavily regulated in other countries. Even worse, American food companies are selling the same product overseas without these chemicals, but choose to serve us the most toxic version. One set of ingredients over there and another one here. Let me give you some examples. This is McDonald's French fries from the United States. It has 11 ingredients, but in the UK, there's only 4, and salt is optional. This one has an ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane, an ingredient that can be preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, and just happens to be the first ingredient in Silly Putty. This is United States Fanta right here. It's made with high fructose corn syrup, artificial dye, yellow 6, red 40, and sodium benzenate. In the UK, they have real orange juice inside, and it's colored with carrots and pumpkin. In Skittles, there's 10 different artificial dyes here in the United States, plus titanium dioxide, an ingredient that's banned in Europe because it causes DNA damage. Gatorade, here in the United States, uses red 40 and caramel color. In Germany, they use carrots and sweet potatoes to color their Gatorade. M&M's has 10 artificial dyes made from petroleum linked to hyperactivity in children. Here in the United States and in the UK, they only use 1. And let's talk about Doritos. Doritos, this bag of Doritos from the United States has MSG and artificial food dye, but in the UK, it doesn't. And America's favorite cookie, Oreo's birthday cake, has 4 different artificial food dyes, and in Europe, they use beets, spirulina, and turmeric. And worst of all, right over the border, this box of Fruit Loops in Canada is naturally colored with carrot juice, blueberry juice, and watermelon juice. This American version has 4 different artificial dyes made from petroleum and the preservative BHT, which is an endocrine disrupting chemical linked to cancer. This is why I became a food activist. My name is Vani Hari, and I only want one thing. I want Americans to be treated the same way as citizens in other countries by our own American companies. Over the last 60 years, almost all food additives have been created for one sole purpose: to improve the bottom line of the food industry and not improve our health. These chemicals are created to mimic real food, to make it easier and cheaper for food manufacturers to preserve their food, to make it last longer on the shelf, to help manufacturing, and sinister of all, to allow them to create products that are addictive in nature. We use over 10,000 food additives in the United States, but there's only 400 approved for use in Europe. Right now, we're at a critical moment where Americans are sicker than ever, and much of this is due to the alarming amount of chemicals in our food. Asking companies to remove artificial food dye would make an immediate impact. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. They already have the formulations, as I've shown you. Food companies have found in focus groups, children will eat more of their product with artificial dye because it's more attractive and appealing. Do you want to see the differences between? Yeah, let's open the box. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. So this is the U.S. version right here. And this is the Canadian version. Here we go. And the worst part, food companies know the harms of these additives because they willingly remove them overseas due to stricter regulations to avoid warning labels that state it will cause an adverse effect on activity and attention in children and due to other health risks like autoimmune disorders and cancer. This is one of the most hypocritical policies of food companies, and somebody needs to hold them accountable. The FDA is asleep at the wheel. They've admitted they're not capable of regulating all these chemicals in our food. And the food companies are using the lack of regulation to their advantage. Right now, I'm petitioning Kellogg's because the government hasn't taken up the issue. In 2015, Kellogg's announced plans to remove these dyes by 2018, but they never did, and they lied to us. Instead, they kept inventing new cereals for children with these dyes and preservatives, using the most popular toddler songs in movies to hook modern children of today, like Baby Shark cereal and Disney's Little Mermaid, targeting the most vulnerable of children. We have now close to 150,000 signatures on the petition to ask Kellogg's to finally serve Americans the same cereals they are serving in other countries. And I will be delivering these petitions to Kellogg's headquarters in Battle Creek, Michigan next month on October 15th. I hope you join me. Come with me. I need you. And because health is nonpartisan, I'm inviting both presidential candidates to join me. This is going to be a massive grassroots gathering to hold Kellogg's, one of the biggest, most iconic American food companies, accountable for this madness. We deserve the same safer ingredients other countries get. We cannot allow our own American companies to treat us this way anymore. We have had enough. It's unethical, and it needs to stop. Thank you very much.
Good job, Bonnie. That was great. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our youngest speaker of the day. Lucky Becerri is an amazing young man. He began his political career yelling at his mom through a loud halo when he was 8. No, he was down at City Hall. Lucky stood up to the vaccine mandates. He stood up to his school, his teachers, his classmates, and he wants to be president of the United States someday.
My name is Lucky Becerri. I am 16 years old. I traveled here from California because the fact is our country is on the precipice. We are at a defining crossroads of our nation. A pivotal moment that every person here needs to be actively and readily engaged and involved in. This is the moment to stand. This is the moment. Freedom or tyranny, liberty or dictatorship. Now let me ask you, after the pandemic, the last 4 years of tyranny that we have endured, our waning liberties, are you gonna take it? I said, are you going to take it? No! Let me tell you something. Gen Z will not take it either. The youth stand for freedom. We stand for liberty. We stand for justice. And we stand against any and all unconstitutional actions. But let me tell you something. As important as this moment is, the flame of liberty will never, ever go out. They can try to cover it, but it will never, ever go out. So let me wrap up by this. You all need to fight. We need to fight, fight, fight to make America healthy again. We need to fight, fight, fight to make America great again. And we need to fight, fight, fight to rescue the Republic. God bless you all. God bless America.
Lucky for president. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now it's time for some music. These people come from outlaw country. That's down in Texas. Who knows about Luckenbach, Texas? The home of Waylon Jennings. Willie Waylon and the boys. Well, right now we have Angels and Outlaws. Come on out here. Struggle Jennings, ladies and gentlemen, is a man of great faith, of great talent, and of great courage. I had the pleasure of speaking to them backstage, and they're pretty damn awesome. I'm getting off the stage before they start playing that music again to tell me to get the hell out of here.
Hey, hold that a minute. Oh, wait. Excuse me. Do you have an air tag in your bag by chance?
Air tag?
Yeah.
No.
No? That's so weird. His phone just popped up and said that there's an air tag following him. And I was like, maybe you had one and it picked it up, but no.
DC.
Right? That's creepy.
God gave us light, but somebody hit the breaker. Lost in the dark till I met my maker. Fighting for peace while I'm here on God's acres. Love thy neighbor. I don't even hate haters. They say don't be violent in the face of my traitors. We can talk about it later. My Savior came in flipping tables. I'm a crusader. My heart is my anchor. The angels are crying and smearing their makeup. You dance with the devil. I march to their cadence. Feeding my kids with the fruits of my labor. I paid all my payments. I'm all out of patience. So save all your statements. You say from your basement. I stand on the pavement and fight for my people against you dictators. For what's right, even if I stand alone, I'd rather be losing this battle than winning by fighting for something that I know is wrong. Known all along, I have a purpose, gotta reach my people. Ain't no common ground on the battlefield that we're standing on. It's a war going on of good and evil. I'm a crusader, screaming my prayers. I'm hoping that God hear my word and find favor. Speaking my truth and my tongue is a razor that open the wounds, the devil's disable. I stand in the light. Darkness around me, my heart keeps on pounding, the trumpets are sounding, not backing down and they counting me out, but I just keep on counting.
Hear the cries of the crusaders, show them what we're made of. I put my armor on. Hear the cries of the crusaders, show them what we're made of. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love, and of a sound mind.
DC!
Put on your armor and fight. I put my armor on. Hear the cries of the crusaders, show them what we're made of. I put my armor on. Hear the cries of the crusaders, show them what we're made of. I put my
Keep your armor on, baby. Y'all make some noise for Caitlin Curtis. This next song went #1 on Billboard independently, proving that the people's voice still matters. We had no managers, no corporate sponsors, no backing, no record label. #1. We just got a gold record for it recently. Y'all might know this one. Come on. crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate. Accelerate, find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate. Separate and segregate, don't celebrate quite yet. The storm is coming true, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadours, troubled souls, one of God's service. Laid out, cut the grass till we see the surface.
Oh, one day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues.
Come on.
Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on that chose is just neglected. Deflected by some breaking news, oh, we just accepted. Expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objective, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, lying out of sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when they speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheek. Drink from a glass, half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting, and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth.
I hope you see it.
This puppet show it stays on because of you. We've been dancing with the devil way too long.
Too long.
I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues.
Get ready, y'all. Let me hear it.
Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now.
We need you now, now.
One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, I hope you see the truth.
I hope you see it.
This puppet show is stays on because of you. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues.
You ready?
Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Hold on, y'all. I want to make sure that God heard us today. Caitlin, you got me?
I got you. Can y'all hear me okay out there? Here we go. Whoa, we need you tonight. Whoa, we need you tonight. Yeah, whoa, we need you tonight. Yeah. One day, one day, one day.
final MC of the night. New York Times best-selling author, former TV host on CNBC, Fox News, and now his new show, Bowling, launched tomorrow. Eric Bowling.
Everybody, how's it going? DC, America, the Republic, folks. I have a very quick story. Spent 11 years at Fox News. I went the last 3 years. I was at another media company, and this is all about anti-censorship, right? So, very quick story. I was called by Senator Mike Lee from Utah, the great Senator Mike Lee from Utah, who is a freedom fighter. He said, Bowling, I want to come on the show, and I want to talk about stop funding the Ukraine war. We don't want to send any more money there. True story. I brought him on. We did 9 minutes. 9 minutes. The company I was working for, the TV network, cut 7 of those minutes out because they were in favor of funding the Ukraine war. 2 months later, they offered me another contract for 3 years, very lucrative contract for 3 more years. I turned it down. Tomorrow, I launch a digital show, Bowling, on podcast and YouTube and everywhere you get it, digital content. Please subscribe. All right, now let's bring in a very, very cool podcaster, great guy, comedy show. He's funny, but he's also really, really smart. And another freedom fighter, Jimmy Dore, everybody.
Thank you for sticking around. You know, I may not agree with everybody on the stage here on everything, but we agree on the important things. Freedom of speech and the First Amendment. I was just in Canada where they have no First Amendment. They have no freedom of speech. I actually, when I was there, I bumped into Justin Trudeau. I was at a meeting of guys who saw the Barbie movie Alone. And he was there. I don't have much time to talk, but what I want to make what's the most important thing is that we have to stop listening to the corporate media. The corporate media works for the international billionaire elites who want us fighting each other and blaming each other for everything that's wrong instead of keeping our eyes on them. I fell for the propaganda around COVID. I was convinced if I got COVID, I was going to die. I was the first one in. I did everything. I locked down. I wiped down. I wore a mask. I didn't wear a mask in the car alone. I wasn't that guy. Whenever I see those people, I want to go, do you wear a seatbelt when you're watching television? But I was the first in line to get the vax, and I was like, hey, since I'm the first one, is the vaccine safe? And they go, yeah, it's safe. I was like, well, can I see the vaccine trial data? And they go, we're not going to release that for 75 years. Yeah. I was like, oh, did Pfizer kill Kennedy? So I got the vax, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go home. They go, you can't go home. You have to stay here for 15 minutes in case you die. I was like, you sons of bitches. You told me it was safe. They go, it is safe. What are you, anti-vax? I just got the vax, fuckface. They go, you have to stay here for 15 minutes in case you die. 15 minutes in case. I go, if my heart explodes, because that's what they said. They go, we have to monitor you for 15 minutes in case your heart explodes. Hey, if my heart explodes, I'm going to sue the shit out of everybody. They said you can't sue if your heart explodes because they passed the law saying you can't sue if you get injured by the vax. I was like, why would they pass a law like that? They go, 'cause it's safe. And I'm not saying that the COVID-19 vaccine doesn't work. All I'm saying is everybody I know who got the COVID-19 vaccine then got COVID. Is that how vaccines work now? Could you imagine if we all got the polio vaccine and in the same year we all got polio? I'd be like, hey, I don't think that polio vaccine works. Why do you say that, Jim? I got fucking polio! But then there's always some asshole, well, it's not supposed to stop you from getting it. It's just supposed to lessen your symptoms. Oh, well, then I guess it worked. I guess it worked. Look at me. I'm a success story over here. Put me on the poster for the facts. Yeah. Anyway, we got to stop listening to the media. All they do is divide us, no matter what the story is. You know, journalists used to come from blue-collar backgrounds, and they weren't looking to make friends with the elite. They were looking to make the life uncomfortable for the elite. Well, now billionaires own the media like Jeff Bezos, and the journalists come from Ivy League institutions and Ivy League schools, and they choose them to cover the news because they know they're going to be class loyal. And man, are they. No matter what it is, they report it in a way that divides the country. It could be climate change. It could be January 6th. It could be Black Lives Matter or Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, I hated Kyle Rittenhouse because the media told me he was a white supremacist who didn't live in that community. He traveled across state lines with guns, and he shot 3 black people. And I hated him, and then I watched the trial, and it turns out he did live in that community. He was a lifeguard in that community. He didn't travel across state lines with guns, and he didn't shoot 3 black people. He shot 3 white people, and I was like, that's different. He shot 3 white people. That's a pretty remedial white supremacist. I bet he took a lot of shit back at the meeting. Kyle, what are you doing? It was my first day. It was dark. I'm allergic to pedophiles. So, we got to stop. The media told me that January 6th undermined our democracy. First of all, that's adorable because we don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. It didn't undermine shit. They told me all those people on January 6th were trying to overthrow the government. Really? A bunch of Second Amendment gun nuts showed up at the Capitol to overthrow the government, and son of a bitch, they forgot their guns. Boy, I bet they were embarrassed. Mike, you got the guns? Ah! I brought mittens. They weren't trying to overthrow the government. Really? A bunch of guys in pajama bottoms and buffalo helmets stealing a podium? I'm overthrowing the government. They were just pissed off protesters, and half of them got let in by the cops who took the fence away, and the other half got pushed in by the FBI plants in the crowd, and I know it because I saw it on TV. Those cops, what part of the cops swinging the doors wide open, taking selfies with the protesters makes you think that it was a setup? They did everything except erect a bouncy house inside the Capitol. And they didn't even know what they were doing when they got in there. They went to Nancy. They were like, what do we do? Let's go to Nancy Pelosi's office and take a shit. That's not a coup, that's a poo. And now they're using lawfare. Anybody who stands up against the establishment, they put in jail. And it's not just in America, it's international billionaires that run everything. In Pakistan, Imran Khan said, we don't want to go along with NATO wars. The people of Pakistan want peace. And that guy's in jail now. Remember, they don't ever censor lies. They censor the truth. Julian Assange was in prison not because he lied, but because he told the truth about the war machine. And they can do it to anybody. They were doing it to stop Cop City protesters who were protesting the expansion of the police state. They used the same RICO statute and the same grand jury to prosecute them that they did Donald Trump. That shows you if they can do it to them, they'll do it to anybody who stands up against the establishment. It could be me, it could be you, it could be Jill Stein, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders. No matter who it is, they're going to use lawfare and make you a fucking criminal because that's the name of the game today. So we have to stand up against it, and we have to stand up for everybody's freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is not for the speech that we like. It's for the speech that we hate. When I grew up in Chicago, literal Nazis would march every year. They would march in Skokie, which is a suburb filled with Jewish people, and the Jewish people let them march because they loved freedom of speech more than they hated Nazis. So that's how much we have to love freedom of speech. Right now, there's a wave of censorship happening in protests. That means we have to stand up for the right of protest for pro-Palestinian protesters. Because if they can shut them down, they can shut us down. And the people who want to shut down the pro-Palestinian protesters say, well, those college protesters, they don't even know what they're protesting for. And it's a good thing they don't, because if they did, they'd be fucking right. I have my Zionist friends who try to get me to go along with Israel. They say to me, they go, Jimmy, you know, I know you support the LGBTQ. You know who doesn't? Hamas. Hamas doesn't support gay people. What do you say to that, Jimmy? I say, oh, I guess we should slaughter their children. Anyway. People say that Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. You know why? Because we overthrew all the other fucking democracies so we could steal their oil. The only thing that scares the establishment is what's happening at this rally here today. People from the left and the right coming together to realize we have more in common that divides us, and we share a common enemy. And that common enemy is the oligarchy who did a controlled demolition of our economy during COVID. And they want me to hate my neighbor for all the pain I'm feeling because he wouldn't take a vaccine that didn't work the way they said it did in the first fucking place. Well, I'm not going to hate my neighbor. I'm going to love my neighbor because they're hurting just like me, and I'm going to join to overthrow those cocksucking oligarchs because that's the only thing that's going to work. And if everybody on the right, because just realize not everybody on the left likes Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Demented Joe. We just want to end those wars, invest that money back in America, and have health care that doesn't bankrupt us. And if you could figure that out, it would go a long way. And if everybody on the left could realize that everybody on the right is a white supremacist Nazi gun nut, they're just fucking gun nuts. And I love them, and I love you too. Stay together. Fuck the media. Fuck the media.
Wow, Jimmy Dore, everybody, Jimmy Dore. Look at this crowd. You're amazing. Very quickly, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? I want to hear a voice first. For Kamala Harris, let me hear you. Donald Trump, let me hear you. One more time, Kamala Harris. Donald Trump. Because if we were in that building right over there, the Democrats would say Kamala Harris just won that vote. Very quickly, Brandon Straka. He's the founder of the Walk Away movement. Great guy. He's got an amazing story of his last 4 years. He's about to share it with you. Brandon Straka, everybody.
What's... Check. Don't have a mic. What's going on, American Patriots? How's everybody doing today? Who wants to join me in rescuing the Republic? Thank God, because we sure do need it. I want to thank all the organizers of Rescue the Republic for having me. My name is Brandon Straka. I am the founder of the #WalkAway campaign. We are the largest national movement of former Democrats walking away from the Democratic Party. Thank you. This event has been amazing. It's been one of my favorite events to do that I've ever done in the last 6 years. I've done a lot of events, but most of the time, most of the events I have done have been over on the MAGA side. I think this event is amazing because we have people all across the political spectrum. And this is how America should be. We should be allowed to exchange ideas with one another. We should be able to disagree with one another. And we should be able to find common ground and be civil to one another. But there is one political party in this country that is making that an impossibility. There is one political party in this country that is seeking to divide us and tear us apart. And we all must unite together. I don't care if you're an RFK Jr. fan. I don't care if you're a Trump fan. I don't care if you're a libertarian, an independent, a Republican. We must join forces, join hands, and fight the Democrat Party together. Because that's what it means to rescue the Republic. That's what we have to do. This event has been amazing. I got to meet Russell Brand backstage. I had no idea if he knew who I was. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm Brandon Straka. I started the Walkaway campaign." And he was like, "I know who you are, bloke. I follow you on social media. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing." It was a lie. He's not following me on social media. Russell Brand, follow me on social media. No, but it's been incredible. Listen. 6.5 years ago, I made a decision to walk away from the Democratic Party. I voted for Hillary Clinton, for Christ's sake. After voting for Barack Obama twice. Yeah, okay. When Donald Trump got elected, I was in tears, and I was terrified. And the reason why is because I believed the mainstream media and all of the lies that they were telling me about Donald Trump and about his supporters. I believed CNN. I believed MSNBC. I believed the New York Times. I believed all of these lying fools. And I had to do a deep dive and do a lot of research to understand really two questions. Why would anyone vote for a man as awful as the mainstream media has been telling me that Donald Trump is? And does the mainstream media lie? How did they get the election so wrong when they kept telling me that Hillary Clinton was going to win in a landslide? And for about 2 straight months, I got buried in research, watching videos, reading stories, learning, researching. And when I came out the other side, you know what I realized? Donald Trump is not my enemy. The media that I've been trusting my entire life is my enemy. And they are the enemy of all of the American people. They are the enemy of truth. They are the enemy for any of us who want to see our country united. Because the Democrats can only succeed when they divide us and keep people divided by fear. This is what they do to minorities in this country. That's why I started the Walkaway movement. At this point, we have grown to over 500,000 people who have shared their stories in Walkaway, videos and written testimonials sharing why they're walking away from the Democratic Party, and we're just getting started. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to make this very, very, very quick, although it's a lot. My story, I think probably more than any other story that you've heard on stage today, I think really exemplifies what is at risk and what is at stake here, what we are up against. Because from the day that I started Walkaway, I started being targeted by the mainstream media. I started being targeted by people in our government. But it wasn't until I showed up on January 6th to stand up for the American voter that my life really began to get torn to shreds. I was a scheduled speaker at a permitted event on Capitol grounds, and I went to the Capitol on January 6th. I did not enter the building on January 6th, never went inside. I did not witness any violence, vandalism, theft, or destruction. I stood outside of the building for 8 minutes shooting a video, which I then uploaded to Twitter. And 2.5 weeks later, my home was raided by a team of FBI agents in tactical gear who got me out of bed at dawn, put me in handcuffs, and took me to jail. When I got out of 24-hour lockdown in jail, I was told that I was facing multiple felony charges for what I had done on January 6th. And needless to say, after going through an over year-long criminal case with the federal government, who threatened to add more felonies if I went to trial, I took a plea deal, and pled guilty to a Class B misdemeanor for disorderly conduct for standing outside of the Capitol for 8 minutes, nonviolently shooting a video. Now, that might sound like a happy ending to you, until you learn that even misdemeanor charges connected with January 6th are being treated as acts of terrorism by our government. I've been placed on a terrorism watch list. I have been permanently banned by PayPal, Venmo, Stripe, Patreon, Constant Contact, banks, email services, payment platforms. Just like in China, where you get a social credit score, and if the government decides that you're not a worthy or good enough person, they'll prevent you from being able to travel or send or receive money or exist in society. This has already happened to me. So if you hear people talk about the country going down a road toward communism, socialism, Marxism, and you think that sounds hyperbolic, it's already happened to many of us in this country, and I am one of them. And I hope that my story will wake a lot of people up so that you can see. You don't even have to have committed a crime for these people to come after you. You just have to be a threat to the establishment. But that being said, I'm still in the fight. I'm never giving up after everything I went through. Thank you. And if I had about an hour, I'd tell you the whole story, but I don't. Eric Bolling says, but I don't. I'm rapping right now. My point is, I have been dragged through hell. My name and reputation have been destroyed, and I have been brutalized by the federal government and the left-wing media and the Democrat Party. But you know what I did? I picked myself up, I dusted myself off, and I got the hell back out on the battlefield, because America is worth fighting for. I will never give up the fight. I will never stop in my quest to rescue the Republic, and neither can you. Thank you so much. Hashtag walk away.
Brandon Straka, everybody, great speech. All right, folks, we're going to move on. There's a lot more. Don't go anywhere. This has been amazing. Really, really good person. Really good. 5 times August, Brad. Listen to these songs. Listen. It's amazing. 5 times August.
Sarcasm, Sheldon.
Hey. How we doing? We holding up? Let me hear you, DC.
I know. Seem to be really focused on certain areas.
Check 1, 2. There we go. All right. This is a brand new song. This song's called Counterfeit World. Dating counterfeit girls, making counterfeit love in a counterfeit world. Counterfeit news for the actual fools who believe and obey all the counterfeit rules. Who's got the power? Who's got control? Who's talking truth? Does anybody know? Who's in the shadows? Who cuts the deals? Who writes the script? Is any of it real in this counterfeit world? It's a counterfeit world. Counterfeit seeds growing counterfeit food. Counterfeit meat tasting counterfeit good. Counterfeit drugs in our actual blood. We don't know what it means. We don't know what it does. Who's got the power? Who's got control? Who's talking truth? Does anybody know? Who's in the shadows? Who cuts the deals? Who writes the script? Is any of it real in this counterfeit world? It's a counterfeit world. All right. It's a long way back when you feel all the real is gone. It's a long way back when you feel all the real is gone. We've got counterfeit gods for our counterfeit faith, counterfeit fear for the counterfeit slaves, counterfeit cash spent on actual crap. It's a genuine steal when it don't actually last. So who's got the power? Who's got control? Who's talking truth? Does anybody know? Who's in the shadows? Who cuts the deals? Who writes the script? Is any of it real in this counterfeit world? It's a counterfeit world. It's a counterfeit world. It's a counterfeit world. It's a counterfeit world. It's a counterfeit world.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. I've been waiting all day to play for you today. I'm excited to be on stage here. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for staying strong. So while I have your attention, I'm going to play a song. Song that came out a few years ago that I wrote. And if you haven't heard the name Alexis Lawrence, I want you to look her up online, follow her story, support her, and realize that she is one of millions around the globe that have been injured by the medical establishment. And we are ruining an entire generation. And it is time to make America healthy again. And if you are a parent, if you know somebody who is injured, not just through vaccines, but through all sort of big pharma crap, fight for them. This song's called Fight for You.
And the lies, as they're holding back the truth, no matter what they try, I will always fight for you. I will save your innocence. They are trying to remove. I am here at your defense, and I will always fight for you. Yes, I will always fight for you. I will stand here in the way, and I will not give up on you. I will shield you from the pain. In the battle on the field, there is evil on the move. But I hope that you can feel that I will always fight for you. In the darkness of the time, there's a light that shines supreme. It'll soon reveal the crime, so I won't stop this fight for you. Yes, I will always fight for you. I will brave every attack, and I will not give up on you. I will always have your back. So every single mother, father, stand up for your sons and daughters. Do not back down, don't let up. You are all they have for honor. So make this a war to win. Looking
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Help and hope go hand in hand. GiveSendGo, the leader in online fundraising.
All right, folks. Good. Let's bring it on home, baby. We got a little bit more to go. We have a naval intelligence officer. We have some crazy stuff coming up next. But first, I want to introduce Jacob Wells and Heather Wilson. Sorry, I got to read this. Co-founders, by the way, they're siblings of GiveSendGo, a crowdfunding site that does not censor freedom of speech, folks. Jacob Wells, Heather Wilson.
Excited to be a sponsor of this event. Now. Thank you for all your donations to help make this happen. We're thankful GiveSendGo was the chosen crowdfunding platform for the event, and we hope you choose it too when you need to fundraise. You know, there's a thing that happens at my house is that if you were to come and visit me, I take out something called my Oculus. Do you guys know what an Oculus? It's like a VR machine. And so it's the fun thing me and my children do. They go, Mom, can we bring the Oculus out and let Uncle Jacob use it? And I said, sure. So they bring it out and he puts it on his face and immediately he's transported into some city. And there's cars whizzing by and birds flying over the head. And he starts looking around and there's an elevator behind him, and everybody has different reactions. They go in the elevator, press the button. They feel like they're actually going up the elevator. I don't know if any of you have done this before. And they get to the top of this building, and they see a plank. And this plank goes out across the building, out across the street, and all of a sudden, the person there is looking. They can hear the plank creaking. They hear the cars below, and now they need to walk the plank. And over again, we laugh because people are like, I can't move. I can't take that first step. And we're standing there going, yeah, but you're in my living room. Like, ignore what you're seeing and hearing. You're in my living room. Take a step. And we have seen grown adults that can't take a step because of what they're seeing and hearing. They're living in fear based on what they're seeing and hearing.
As Heather mentioned, that's true. I've been in the living room trying to take a step with these glasses on, and your body is actually responding. You're getting endorphins flooding through your body. There actually is a real reaction, even though what I'm seeing isn't real. The Bible makes a very similar picture about the reality of the world that we live in. It says in Ephesians 6:12, it says, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, things unseen. There's a reality beyond what we can see. I think oftentimes we get so pulled into looking into the election happening, all of these natural things that are playing out without realizing that there's actually a deeper reality. You want to talk about deep state? This is the deep state. It is this evil principality place that exists, and we so often ignore it. The reason why there's such an attack on free speech today is because you can read in the Bible in John 1, the Bible says that God spoke. It is the essence of speaking that brings life. And it's the effort to silence speech because speech brings you to life. And that's what the attack is on, and it also reveals truth. And the truth is not some fact. It's not some medical diagnosis. It's none of that. It's actually a person. and his name's Jesus. In John 14, it says, Jesus says, I am the way, I am truth, and I am the life. That's what it's all about. It is about you coming to know this man, truth himself. That's why they want to silence your speech, because in silencing your speech, you can't come to know truth.
You know, even though I do know truth, sometimes we can get still so caught up in what's going around. Has anybody had those types of days, weeks, or months where you're like, God, why are you picking on me? Like, I can handle one thing at a time, but I can't handle 10 things at a time. Like 10 big things. My car breaks down. My kid gets kicked out of school. My husband and I are fighting. Everything is going wrong that goes wrong. And I had one of those months, and I'm like, God, or one of those days in a month, and I said, God, why are you picking on me? And I'd love to tell you that I ran to my Bible and spent some time in prayer, but instead I started scrolling. But God spoke to me. Because guess what he said? I saw right in front of me. I'm like, God, why are you picking on me? I look down and it says, I'm not picking on you. I have picked you. All of a sudden, those glasses came off my eyes because I was living in a not reality world of seeing things and hearing things that weren't truth, where God is saying, Heather, I put you in these places. These are hard things, but I'm using you. I'm using you in Give, Send, Go. I'm using you with your adopted son. I'm using you in your family. I'm using you in the world. Know that I'm using you, and I've picked you. I want to tell everybody here today, God has picked you. He is not picking on you. He has picked you for this moment in time to do what he's called you to do.
What a powerful statement. I'm not picking on you. I've picked you. Give, Send, Go is a platform of people that are living out that adventure. They are stepping in, realizing what God has done in their lives and the adventure that he's called them to, and our challenge to you is take off the glasses and come to truth. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.
Soon after I was nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety while being denied protection. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jack Posobiec. I'm here with my colleague, Mike Benz.
Hello.
You guys know. But I wanted to know if it would be all right here in Washington, D.C., in front of this fine crowd, to bring on a special guest. Would that be all right with you? Woo! Special guest, your presence is requested. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my 6-year-old son, Jack. And he wanted to come out here today. Jack, do you have a message for the crowd?
Yes, I do.
What's that?
Make America great again.
Now, what's incredible, though, as we sit here today, and it's wonderful to see everyone here and wonderful to be here with my family and their support. Also, I think, Jack, is this the first time you come out on a big stage like this with me?
Probably.
I actually wish we weren't here today, in a way. I wish we were all doing something else. I wish we were home with our families. But I'll tell you something. It's because we love our families. That's why we're all here today. Because I don't want this little boy and his brother to grow up in a country that's controlled by communism. And my wife comes, so his mother was born in the Soviet Union. Her name is Tanya Tay. You may know her. She came from a country that had political prisoners to a free country. And yet, as we stand here today, her son is now growing up in a country that has political prisoners. And when this day comes forward and Donald J. Trump becomes president, every single political prisoner will be pardoned and freed on day one. Jack, there's even someone that you know who's in jail right now, isn't there? And do you have a message for him?
Yes.
What's that message?
What was it again? Free Steve Bannon.
Free Steve Bannon. Thank you, Jack. Okay. Here you go. So cute. Cheer it up for Jack, folks. All right, Benz, I stole enough of the limelight there.
The Steve Bannon case is probably the most piercing example of the corruption of our Justice Department. The very week that the Justice Department sentenced Steve Bannon to prison for defying a congressional subpoena, the head of the Justice Department defied a federal subpoena. And when Congress referred the head of the Justice Department for prosecution by the Justice Department protected their boss, who was protecting his boss, from providing incriminating evidence that might impact this election, if folks remember that episode. But effectively what you have here is when Steve Bannon did it, it was a crime. But when Merrick Garland did it, it was an authorized crime. And we now have a two-tier justice system where every year almost 25,000 crimes are authorized by this Justice Department to agents and informants to infiltrate anyone who might mobilize a political movement that could unseat this current government from power. And what we've always seen this Justice Department or our justice system as being this rock of Gibraltar, solid as the earth itself. But what we're finding now, and questions we're having to ask that we've never had to ask before, it's now a Strait of Gibraltar. Everything else passes through this narrow strait in the Justice Department. The corruption of the FBI, the corruption of the White House, the corruption of the Defense Department and the State Department and the IRS. When the Justice Department protects criminals, we have a criminal justice department, not a criminal justice system, and the criminals are running it. And the best thing we can do is change the senior leadership of the Justice Department in 1 month's time.
And folks, I'll tell you something else. Take a good look around here, folks, ladies and gentlemen. You are in the belly of the beast as we sit. We've got the Department of State right over here in Georgetown, Main Justice, the Department of Justice headquarters, the U.S. Capitol, the Pentagon over there, the White House over here. They call us criminals. They called you a criminal because you supported the Freedom Truckers like Give, Send, Go was just here doing. They call you a criminal because you refused to be silent. They called you a criminal because you refused to get an experimental untested vaccine. They call you a criminal because you're a Catholic and you wanted to organize. They call you a criminal because you don't want your sons and daughters being taught transgender nonsense in the classroom. Well, ladies and gentlemen, take a look around. We aren't the criminals. We are surrounded by the criminals. They are the criminals. And in 36 days' time, we are going to evict those criminals from office. And we are going to install we the people as the new rightful leadership of the United States of America. And I'll tell you, looking at the incredible lineup that I've seen here today and the incredible movement that's going on, it kind of feels like we're watching the assembly of a new generation of founding fathers, the new founding fathers. And you know something else? I love the team that we've put together. Benz, who do they have on their team? Have you seen their team? My goodness.
It's JV, and they're ripe to be replaced. But we are not defenseless here. Everyone is coming from different parts of this country to this event, and it's amazing that we're all here. But every state right now, and you can go back and tell your state assembly members that they can use malicious prosecution laws. Every state has some form of malicious prosecution laws when prosecutors go rogue. We now don't have attorney generals or district attorneys. We have prosecution factories out of the state of New York, out of the District of Columbia, and every state's National Assembly can beef up its malicious prosecution laws so that when prosecutors go rogue and they reach into your state to indict you for premeditated jaywalking, you should be able to sue them in state for their rogue activities. And when that gets implemented, if any state assembly, Florida, Texas, Ohio, Tennessee, you name it, the moment they start feeling the same thing that they've been doing to you, I think that little delivery system of empathy through something that I've heard is called rule of law may be able to provide a chilling effect to this, because it's not until they feel it themselves that they will understand that Lady Liberty carries a scale and a sword, and that does cut both ways.
This will not stop until it is stopped. We have seen this crime. We've seen this disease in the public mind affect countries like Russia, like China, like France, like Spain, and it was always stopped by patriots joining together, uniting across party lines like so many have done here today, and coming forward to decide we will not let our country fall to godless Marxism. We will not allow it to happen. And we are not going to allow it to happen here. Not on my watch, not with my family, not with my children. I will not let them grow up in a Marxist country. And that is why we have decided to stand here, to take our time together. And for the next 36 days, this is what my call is to all of you. Leave it all out on the field. I'm going to leave it all out on the field. I want you to leave it all out on the field. Take your vote, 10x your vote, 10 of your friends, 10 of your colleagues. Be obnoxious. Be that squeaky wheel. Be the person that will not quit and will not give up. Because I don't know about all of you, but I'm not going to sleep until at least, 3 a.m. on election night. Because we all know what happens at 3 a.m. on election night. Am I right, folks?
Yeah.
No.
Watermains have a weird habit of breaking around that time.
Precisely, right around the time when all the pipes burst. We know that if we, the people, remain vigilant, it's not just about winning an election, folks, because winning is just step one. This will not stop until we see these hardened tyrants in handcuffs being hauled off to prison themselves. And that is why, and they know there's one man who can stop them. And that is why they tried to censor him. They tried to kick him off the ballot. They tried lawfare against him. And that's why, look, you don't need a degree to understand this. That's why they're trying to kill him, folks. And we're not going to let it happen. We're going to stand up and fight every inch of the way.
Our elections are not determined by we, the prosecutors. It's we, the people. And they're doing this prosecution because they're losing in the polls. That's why all of the indictments came down right after Trump did the announcement, not in any of the years preceding, or frankly in the 250 years of our history. So the harder they work to try to stop us, that means we need to multiply tenfold, as Jack said. But another thing is you got to have fun and have love in your heart when you do it, because that is what brings people to this message, and that is what makes the persecution so visible to the rest of the world. Come at it with love, fight like holy hell, because heaven and hell is on the line right now. But have the music, have the love in your heart, and be happy warriors, because no matter what happens in November, we have a century of battle ahead, because the rot in this town is so deep. It is going to take so many layers of disinfectant, and they will throw every obstacle at us along the way. So you got to have that love in your heart, because it's going to be a long fight.
Folks, are you going to fight with love in your heart?
Yes.
Are you going to give it all you got? Yes. Are you going to take their best punch in the face and get right back up and keep going? And are you going to be here and join me again on January 20th in just a few months' time for the second inauguration of Donald J. Trump? Will you be here? I'll see you here, folks, and so will Mike Benz. Thank you. God bless.
All right, folks. Very, very important. This is not an easy event to put on. Look at this beautiful stage. Look at these beautiful seats. Look at the cameras. Look at everything. Angela McArdle, Brett Weinstein, Matt Toon. Take it away.
Hey, guys. I'm going to make this quick. We got to wrap it up. Here's the thing. This event all of those speakers, musicians, comedians that you saw volunteered their time. We're working as volunteers, and the people that we hired to do things haven't been paid yet. I don't want you to shortchange your kids, but if you can at all throw us something to help us pay the bills so we can get even and do this again at another place, at another time, we would be really grateful. If you can help us out, take a look at the QR code and do what you can. If everybody does just a little bit, we'll solve the problem in no time. Many hands make light work.
Absolutely. We are here to defend your individual liberties and to heal the great divide and hatred in this country. We love and appreciate you so much, and we'd be so grateful if you can lend us your support for yourselves and for the good of the country.
We love you guys so much. We love you. We are family. Don't forget that.
All right. Thanks, guys. And now,
give it up, folks, for the organizers of the major event, the best political event of the year in D.C., these guys right here. All right, last but certainly not least, Walter Kern, author, co-host with Matt Taibbi of America This Week, if I'm not mistaken, my friend. Also, one of his books has been turned into a major motion picture. Walter Kern, folks.
So this is where you all end up when you do your own research. My name is Walter Kern. I'm a novelist. That's the reason you don't know who I am. And I've come here to tell you a little bedtime story. When I was a kid in rural Minnesota, the land of the deplorables, in the late 1960s and early 70s, my mother had a little record player. The problem was she only had 5 records, and all of them were protest music. Pete Seeger, The Weavers, Joan Baez, Peter, Paul, and Mary. I used to listen to the records, and I had a favorite song. Maybe you know it, If I Had a Hammer. It was very strange that my mother had these records because she was a young Republican. Anyway, I was 8 years old, and I had no idea what this song meant. It seemed to have something to do with being powerless and dreaming or fantasizing that you had power. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer out justice. I'd hammer out freedom all over this land. I'd hammer out love between the brothers and the sisters. That was my favorite line because it was so puzzling. Isn't love between brothers and sisters incest? Like I said, I found the song confusing, and the thing that confused me most about the song was, why didn't the singer have a hammer? What had happened? Who'd taken it away? This morning, I was reading Twitter, and I was reminded of this song in the most unlikely way. I saw a clip of a discussion at one of those big international conferences that you and I are never invited to. And on this video was John Kerry, former Secretary of State, former Skull and Bonesman, that secret society at Yale, the same secret society that George W. Bush belonged to, the guy who ran against John Kerry for president in 2004. Skull and Bonesman versus Skull and Bonesman. Talk about the illusion of choice. Anyway, what Kerry was talking about was the First Amendment and how it was a problem, a big, big problem. He had a peculiar complaint about it. The First Amendment stopped people like him, he said, from trying to build consensus. Now, that's how these people think about themselves, as builders of consensus. And what does that make you and me? They're construction materials. Anyway, John Kerry, master builder, had a complaint. The First Amendment, he said, kept people like him from stopping what he now calls disinformation. It kept him from, he said, hammering it out of existence. Now, I'm pretty sure that in 1949, when Pete Seeger wrote, "I have a hammer," or "if I had a hammer," he didn't mean if John Kerry had a hammer. He didn't mean if they had a hammer. If they had a hammer, they'd hammer out disinformation. They'd hammer out vaccine hesitancy all over this land. They'd hammer out Kennedy. They'd hammer out Matt Taibbi. That is not the song. And John Kerry has it wrong. The hammer does not belong to him. That hammer belongs to us. It's ours. But why don't we have it? That's the mystery. That's the question I've spent a lifetime trying to figure out. And look at this gray hair. It's been a lifetime. Why doesn't the singer have a hammer? Why? Why do we have to dream, to fantasize? Why do we have to wish we had one? Well, I think I've finally answered it. We have it right in front of us. The question is, will we pick it up? The question is, will we use it? So I have a request for you when you go home tonight. When you get home, pick up your hammer. Pick up your hammer and use it. It's time to build. My mother had one other record. It was by Simon and Garfunkel. It also had a song I loved called El Condor Pasa. I think you remember its greatest line. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Don't be a nail. Pick up your hammers. Go home. Let's build a new America.
Here we go, folks. One more song for Brad, 5 times August. How about it?
One, two. All right, how we doing? Let's close it out strong. We're going to sing along with this last song, all right, everybody? I want you to sing so loud, every liar, cheat, and crook in Washington, D.C. can hear you, all right? When you hear this, sing it. It goes like this. We say la, 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 all your lies. La, 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 all your lies. When you hear that, sing along, all right? You want me scared, you want me weak, you want me brain dead and asleep. You want us trapped while you all laugh behind the scenes. You want us sick, you think we're dumb. You want us blind and you want us struck. You want us poor while you get more of everything. You don't get to tell me what to think and what to do. No, you don't get to tell me what is true. You're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the rules and you burn the books. And so I don't believe a single word you say. You're all liars, fakes and cons. Want you out and we want you gone. So don't believe this time you'll get away. You want us tricked, you want us dumb. You want us scared and you want us stung. You want us shot and you want us bought in every way. You want our minds, you want our time. You want us framed up in your crimes. I hope you know that it's time to go and take your names. You don't get to tell us what to think and what to do. No, you don't get to tell us what is true. 'Cause you're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the God bless y'all. Good night. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
5 times August. Everybody have a great night. Be safe. I love you. Bowling is the show. See you next time. Help these guys out. Donate. Have a good night.